My wife went to the bank every Tuesday for 20 years. After she died, I found her notebook. My son, For 20 years, my wife left the house every Tuesday at exactly 9:10 a.m. Same coat, same calm smile, same excuse. After she died, I found her notebook. And in that moment, I realized I had never truly known the woman I loved. Or what my own son was hiding from me. I want to tell you about Mary first. Not the secret, not the notebook. Mary. She was the kind of woman who folded towels the same way every time, who remembered birthdays without reminders, who spoke softly but with purpose. When life hit hard, and it did, more times than I can count, Mary became the steady ground beneath my feet. We were married for 33 years. 33 ordinary, beautiful, sometimes exhausting years. We raised our son, Daniel, together. Only child, smart, quiet, observant. He had Mary's eyes and my stubbornness. From the outside, we looked like one of those families people describe as solid. No scandals, no drama, just routines. And Mary loved routines. Every Tuesday morning, without fail, she went to the bank. I remember noticing it early in our marriage. At first, I thought nothing of it. Back then, we were young, saving for a house, juggling bills. She handled the finances, not because I couldn't, but because she liked order. Numbers made sense to her. Just errands, she'd say, slipping on her coat. Back in an hour, always an hour. Over time, the routine became invisible. Tuesday meant Mary at the bank, Daniel at school, me at work. Life moved on. Years passed. Promotions, arguments, reconciliations, holidays, losses, wins. The bank visits stayed. Sometimes I'd tease her. 20 years of errands. You must own the place by now. She'd smile, but it never reached her eyes. Some things are better kept consistent, she'd reply. That should have been a red flag. But when you love someone long enough, you stop questioning the shape of their silence. Mary never came home upset from the bank. Never happy either. Just neutral. Like she'd stepped into a different version of herself for 60 minutes and left it there. Daniel grew up watching this too. I didn't realize how closely until much later. He adored his mother. Not in an obvious way. Daniel was never overly affectionate, but in a quiet, protective way. If Mary was tired, Daniel noticed. If she forgot something, he remembered. They shared looks across the dinner table that I didn't understand, small moments of understanding that felt private. I told myself that was normal. Mother and son. Then Mary got sick. It happened slowly. First the fatigue, then the tests, then the long, careful conversations where doctors used words like manageable and progressive in the same sentence. Through it all, Mary remained composed. She still went to the bank on Tuesdays. Even when walking hurt, even when breathing took effort. I can skip it this week, I offered once, genuinely worried. She shook her head. No, I need to go. Need, not want. Daniel started offering to drive her. She refused every time. I'll manage, she said. I always have. Those words echo differently now. Mary died on a quiet Thursday night. No dramatic final speech. Just a hand squeeze, a soft breath, and then nothing. 33 years reduced to a still room and a sound I can't forget, the flat, empty silence after a hard monitor stops. Grief changes time. Days blur. Nights stretch. Daniel stayed close, handling arrangements, making calls, being strong when I couldn't. I leaned on him more than I realized. A week after the funeral, I began sorting through Mary's things. Not because I was ready, but because leaving them untouched felt worse. Like pretending she might walk back in. That's when I found the notebook. It wasn't hidden. That's what unsettled me most. It sat in the back of her wardrobe, tucked between scarves she hadn't worn in years. Plain black cover. No title. No lock. Inside were dates. Tuesdays. Every Tuesday. For 20 years. Each page had a date, a time, and brief notes written in Mary's careful handwriting. No emotions. No explanations. Just observations, names, numbers, initials. Some pages were blank except for a single sentence. He was late today. Asked too many questions. Daniel seemed nervous. That last one made my chest tighten. Daniel. My hands started to shake as I turned the pages. The entries became more detailed as the years went on. Mentions of meetings, of trust, of things being kept safe. Not once did she write the word bank. I sat on the bed, notebook open on my lap, feeling like I'd stepped into a room in my own house that I wasn't supposed to see. That evening, Daniel came over with groceries. He looked tired, older than his years. "You okay, Dad?" he asked. I almost showed him the notebook. Almost asked him outright what his mother had been doing every Tuesday for 2 decades. Almost demanded answers, but then he noticed the notebook in my hands. Just for a second, his face changed. It was subtle, anyone else would have missed it. A tightening around the eyes. A pause that lasted half a breath too long. "Where did you find that?" he asked. I closed the notebook slowly. "In your mother's wardrobe," I said. "Daniel, what is this?" He swallowed, looked away, then back at me. "Dad," he said carefully, maybe you shouldn't read that yet." Yet, that word landed heavier than any confession. I stared at my son, my only child, the boy I raised, the man I trusted, and for the first time, I felt something colder than grief. I felt like I was standing at the edge of a truth that had been waiting 20 years to be seen. And whatever was written in that notebook, Daniel already knew. I didn't answer Daniel right away. The notebook sat between us on the kitchen table, its black cover dull under the yellow light. For years, that table had hosted birthday cakes, homework, quiet dinners with merry humming in the background. Now it felt like a courtroom. "Why not?" I finally asked. Daniel exhaled slowly, like someone bracing for a storm. "Because it's complicated." That word again, complicated. The same word doctors used before Mary died. The same word people use when the truth won't fit neatly into a sentence. I opened the notebook. Daniel reached out, then stopped himself. "Dad," he said softly, "I didn't want you to find out like this." My heart sank, not because of what he said, but because of how prepared he sounded. Like this conversation had been rehearsed in his mind for years. I flipped to a random page. April 14, 2009. Deposit confirmed. He asked about the boy again. I reassured him. "The boy?" I asked. My voice sounded distant, even to me. Daniel pulled out a chair and sat down heavily. He rubbed his hands together, a nervous habit he'd had since childhood. "Mom started those bank visits before I was born," he said. "Just after, something happened." "What happened?" I pressed. He looked at me then. Really looked at me. "You," he said quietly. "And her. Before me." The room felt smaller. He told me slowly, carefully, like each word carried weight. Early in their marriage, years before Daniel, Mary had made a decision without telling me. A financial one. It wasn't reckless. It wasn't selfish. It was protective. She had seen something in me I hadn't seen in myself yet. My tendency to trust too easily. To assume people were honest because I wanted them to be. She opened a separate account. Not secret, she told herself. Just separate. A safety net. Something only she controlled. Something meant for, if life changes. Life did change. When Daniel was born, Mary started contributing to that account every Tuesday. Small amounts at first, then more. Always careful, always consistent. Over time, it grew into something significant, not wealth, but security. "So, the notebook?" I asked. Daniel nodded. She documented everything. Every deposit, every conversation, every person who ever asked about it. "Who asked?" I said. Daniel hesitated. "Dad," he said, "do you remember your friend Robert?" Of course I did. Robert had been part of our lives for decades. Barbecues, holidays. He helped us move houses. Laughed with Mary. Taught Daniel how to drive. When Mary got sick, Robert checked in more than anyone. A friend. A constant. "Yes," I said. "What about him?" Daniel's jaw tightened. He knew about the account. My stomach dropped. "How?" I whispered. "Because Mom trusted him," Daniel replied. At first, Mary had confided in Robert years ago, casually, she thought. Mentioned the account, the routine, the bank visits. Robert listened, asked questions. Too many questions, according to the notebook. That's when Mary started writing things down. That's when the tone changed. Robert had suggested, helping manage it. Suggested legal advice. Suggested changes that didn't sit right with her. She didn't cut him off, Daniel said. She just watched him. Documented everything. I remembered the notebook entries now. Asked too many questions. Pushed again today. My chest felt tight. "And you?" I asked. "Why are you in this?" Daniel looked down. "Because Mom brought me in when I turned 18, he said. She said if anything ever happened to her, I needed to know. To protect it. To protect you." Tears burned my eyes. "Mary, Planning even then. Thinking ahead. Carrying this alone. So the account, I said slowly. Where is it now? Daniel reached into his jacket and placed an envelope on the table. It's still there, he said. Untouched. In your name now. I stared at the envelope, then at my son. Then what's the problem? I asked. Daniel didn't answer immediately. Dad, he said finally, Robert came to see me yesterday. The air seemed to drain from the room. He said you'd find the notebook, Daniel continued. He said it would confuse you. That you'd need help understanding it. That he could explain everything. My hands clenched. He wanted access, Daniel said. He said Mom promised him things. Said the money was meant for investments. For our future. I let out a bitter laugh. Our future. Daniel shook his head. She never promised him anything. The notebook proves it, and he knows that, I said. Yes, Daniel replied, which is why he's desperate now. Silence settled between us, heavy and thick. For 20 years, Mary had walked into that bank carrying a secret meant to protect us. For 20 years, a man I called a friend had watched, waited, and slowly tried to position himself closer to something that was never his. The betrayal wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was patient. I closed the notebook and pulled it toward me. She trusted you, I said to Daniel. He nodded, tears finally slipping free. I just didn't know how to tell you without breaking you. I reached across the table and placed my hand over his. You didn't break me, I said quietly. You showed me who she really was. That night, after Daniel left, I sat alone with Mary's notebook and the envelope. Grief washed over me again, but this time, it carried something else with it. Clarity. Mary hadn't lived a double life. She had lived a prepared one. And as for Robert, the next Tuesday was coming. And for the first time in 20 years, Mary wouldn't be the one walking into that bank.